everyone. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're watching the GSL Talk Show. Tonight, we're going to be chatting with Miss Wanda Joell, an amazing woman of God who has a testimony that only very few people have. So, stay tuned.
That I'm not the type of girl that goes.
Yeah, it's a miracle, baby.
Wishing I would have a one night affair.
Welcome back to the GSL Talk Show. I am here with Miss Wanda Joell. How are you doing, ma'am?
Good afternoon. I'm doing fine. And thank you so much for having me this afternoon.
Yes. Welcome to the GSL Talk Show.
Excited.
Yes, I'm excited to have you too. Can you just share with our audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a retiree from the Air Force. I served 28 years total active duty service. And 24 of the 28 years, I was a flight attendant on Air Force One. So that's my job title. I was superintendent also of First Lady Operations. So that's separate from Air Force One, as well as flying with the president. I took care of their first ladies and had my own team of flight attendants, and we serviced them and with their travels and their needs and all with that, whatever they needed to do. So I was a head honcho on that as well. We're in two hats.
Wow, well, that's amazing. Look, thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I'm sure there's all kinds of tales or classified information, right? Probably can't get out,
Right. Oh yeah, I can't say everything, right?
can't get the tea, but I mean, but that's an
Yeah.
amazing job to have. How did you get into that?
Well, of course, you have to be active duty military to fly with the president. Everyone on the jet, all the crew members are active duty. The enlisted part of the house is the flight attendants. We have radio operators. We have crew chief to fix the plane. We have cops, Air Force One cops that fly with us. And the officers are the pilots and the navigators. So it could be up to about 23 to 28 crew members on each individual plane. And Air Force One has two different tail numbers, two different planes. And so that's probably between 28, 33 crew members on each given trip. So it's quite a few crew members on that. It's a big plane.
I'm sure, man. So did you just kind of get appointed to it, or was it something you requested to do, or?
No, I applied for it. I was in England and I saw the jets coming into the base. I worked at the terminal. They have a base airline, like a terminal, just like a commercial terminal on the base in England. And I processed one of the flights, not knowing they were active duty Air Force. And to be a flight attendant, it's in my incoming book that's coming, tells you my story. I wanted to be a flight attendant at the age of 5. So when I just held on to that dream, and of course, joining the Air Force, connecting it to airplanes, figure, I could get my foot in the door on an airplane somewhere, not knowing again they had flight attendants. And along the way, I applied for a lot of commercial airlines after high school, and a lot of doors was closing. And I see now that God was closing those doors to open this big door, and who can ask for that, So I always tell everyone that, you don't know what's for you in life. You just be patient. When doors close, there's got to be a better, answer coming later. So just be patient and just wait on the Lord. And that's what I did. And he opened the door to join the Air Force. And like I said, unbeknown to me, they had flight attendants, and look what happened.
Wow, that
So
is
that
an
was
amazing testimony. That's so
Yeah.
true too. Everything you
Yeah.
just said. Like sometimes we get discouraged, right? And we're like, man, I guess this isn't for me, or whatever the case may be. And then no, it could be for you. You just probably only got a glimpse, right? As a child, you got a glimpse that it was flight attendant, but you didn't know, right?
No.
The type of flight attendant that God had in store for you. That is
Exactly.
amazing, man. Like I know just that by itself, I'm sure we can sit here and talk the rest of the time. And
Yes. And you
stuff,
know
but
what, you
yeah, it sounds like it's not necessarily something you're doing anymore. So I'm sure there's more things you want to share with us as well. So what all you have going on these days?
a lot of benefits to as a veteran. I'm still living off the benefits of serving,
Mm,
but a lot of doors open as far as corporate flight
mm,
attendants.
okay.
So which is, I think, far better than commercial. You fly with the private individual company CEO. So I did that when I first got to Atlanta. I was flying with some actors. I did Robert De Niro. I flew with some CEOs from different companies. And then as time went on, I wanted to do something different. So I do a lot of speaking at schools and churches during Black History Month. I'm really busy. Graduation's coming up in May. I'm invited to quite a few of those. And last year, the opportunity came for me to speak at Tennessee State University. So I'm going to get my foot in the door to do some more HBCU colleges. And I'm trying to help promote their ROTC programs. So my goal is to just really inspire. I had a story as a little girl, wanted to be a flight attendant, and it happened for me. And I just want others to follow their dreams and, and just continue to persevere and don't give up. So basically, that's what I'm doing now. And I work in the school system as a substitute teacher when they need me. So I'm around kids all the time. And I just want to pour into them any way I can.
That's awesome. I know how important that is to, have representation. I know that's one of the big subjects these days, but, I had the chance to, like, when I was younger, I looked at, like when they would do assemblies at our schools and stuff like that. And you looking at the people on stage performing, and that kind of, I guess, gave me at least some of the first glimpses of theater and acting and things of that nature, which is, my calling, I believe in. So, and stuff. But then it came around full circle when I was the one, on the stage and in front of the huge amount of kids. And I just really thought about that. Because, one, I was playing like the scientist type of character,
right?
Which I just over the top funny type of thing. But wanted to be playing the type of character as a African American woman. And then also, so it's like the little performer in the audience or the little scientist in the audience. You know what I mean? It was like a double thing. And so I'm sure that you're probably, you never know, like, the impact that you're having, but when you're going and speaking, or even by substituting and being able to share anything those things that you've been through. And so, man, it sounds exciting. It sounds like you had a great things going on.
Because, I even went to a school, I want to say it was down by Griffin, Georgia. It was South Georgia. And they have schools, they had classes on Saturdays. That's how low the GPS, most of the kids' GPAs were really low. So they had said that, me coming inspired them to try to work on their grades, to know that they don't have to live in that kind of environment, 6 or 7 siblings in one elementary school. So all they see is maybe a government check coming into the house every month. And that's how they're living because there's so many siblings. And just me to come and say there's military opportunities, which includes travel, free on the government. You could get your education. And the military, I really promote it because a lot of people don't know just you're serving your country, you get to see the world. No, I'm benefiting it as a veteran now because I'm still receiving an income. I still have the VA, my medical's paid for. I'm still opportunities to go on the base and get the discounts on the commissaries and all that other stuff. So it benefits long term as well. And then my son, if you have children, their education could be paid for as a veteran. If you serve so many times, so many years. So there's a lot of benefits I let the young people know. And even if you can't decide on a career right after high school, college is not an option right away or something. I went in the military without a degree and came out with a master's.
Wow.
And the military paid for it. So I said, I wanted to travel at the same time. I wanted to go back to school, but I didn't want to go to school right after high school. So I did it later. And so, it's a lot of opportunities that I try to pass on that they could just benefit from it. And I mean, my testimony alone is just, I'm still sometimes in awe how God opened up that door. And like I said, I couldn't see it then with all the doors and all the airlines back then. A lot of airlines were downsizing, laying off, going under, striking and all that. And God said, you're not even going to go through all that. I went through all that to get to the Air Force One.
Wow.
And then to make history, they had females, maybe 2 or 3 females total when I got selected, and none of color, of course. That's why I made the first African-American woman. They had some male, but back, if you do a little history, those that served the president back in the day were all male. They had all male flight attendants. That's why it was a small career field for women. And when I came, I broke the other barriers. But yes, predominantly men took care of our presidents probably way before.
So are you saying that you were the first? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, you got frozen for a minute there. Your question.
Oh, yeah. No, I was saying. So, are you saying that you said that you were the first African American female Wow, what an honor, man.
Excuse me.
Wow.
Yes, I was the first African American female, and that's in my book. I put permanent hired because they had some part timers, maybe
Mm-hmm.
one or two part timers back in during the excuse me early Reagan years, but they were never hired. So I was the first one to Air Force One gives you a badge, like the presidential seal. You might see the presidential seal. So we're issued a seal, and then on the back of it, you have a number, and that number's in the White House archives or wherever they put in the White House to know that that was her number when she served. So I was the first one
Wow.
to get presented my badge and have a permanent status. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on all of that. That's amazing. That is really cool. And look, I'm honored to be talking to you right
Yeah.
now. Listen, shoot.
Yeah.
That's
So.
really cool. Like I'm
Mhm.
already see, I'm an idea generator and I'm over here like, I don't know. Do you have a children's book out? Because if so, if not,
That's what's coming out next this spring at
look,
Dreams and
they call me a prophet yeah, now and then. I swear.
That's okay. Well, look, I can always get that second one going, right?
Listen, that I mean,
Be
yeah, I
another
mean that
platform. Yeah, another platform, another idea you might have and present to me because in my book, it's really just my journey, how I
hmm
got to where I ended on Air Force One. It's like a memoir into a children's inspirational. My story, like I told you, coming from Bermuda, my island, and wanted to fly, and then ended up joining the military. So it's like a memoir, but the sky's the limit. I'm open to whatever God has for me, and I'm praying that even. And my parents was saying for this month, Black History, they've been watching some maybe like Good Morning Atlanta or some local things, and they're honoring some veterans. She's like, they know that you're right here in Swanee, you're the first African American woman on Air Force One, you're right here in Atlanta. If Fox News don't have you yet, so I'm waiting for God. It's gonna open that door too, so it's coming.
mm
It's coming in different ways. And like I said, I
hmm
speak to a lot of local churches here, so you don't know who's where. God plants
hmm
people in the congregations or in the audience that will say, we got to give her a call. So it's coming. And things like I said, the colleges is the first was last spring. So that's coming more into in fruition. So I'm happy for that too.
Well, listen, congratulations on not only the endeavors that you already done, but like the ones that are to come and the ones that are in the works. Because sometimes again, like when you do one thing, sometimes people think like, oh, that's it. We can hear all kinds of things about veterans that obviously they're dealing with PTSD, and so to God be the glory that you made it through your service, and that
Mhm.
seems like you're in your healthy and in your right mind and things of that
Yeah.
nature, and so and that you're able to now pour into other people, and like I said, being encouraging and inspiring in a way that you may
Yeah.
not even know, and so
Hmm.
I mean, this is exciting. It sounds like there's a lot of great things in the works and stuff. So
Yes.
I mean, not to say what made you write your memoir, because I mean, obviously you have a amazing story to tell, but like, what was the inspiration behind going ahead and putting pen to paper and things of that nature for you?
Well, I had put it off for so long, and I said I have to leave something behind. I have to
Mm-hmm.
leave not just someone. I wanted to, just like I told you earlier, to inspire, but you have to get your story out there. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
might be inspired to say, okay, I didn't know the military had that much to offer, or
Mm-hmm.
the education part, or the
Mm-hmm.
benefits with the medical, or all the other benefits that you could get, that you could live off after you retire. So I just basically just wanted to say, I put, like I said, put off the book for so long because I've been retired. I retired 2011 was my official ceremony, so it was time to get it in writing and put it out there, and just to leave a legacy for someone, to just pick up and say, oh, I met her and look where I am today. So you never know. Like you said, if I could just touch one person out of that group of thousands, that someone will
Mm-hmm.
listen and say, I was about to give up, because a young man came to me at TSU after I spoke, and he said, wow, ROTC is right here on the campus, and I might look into that now. I'm taking courses, but you could do both. I could serve and so you, like I said, just never know.
That is so true. Like it was funny. I guess my one little, it's not a military story, but kind of. So I was at the college that I worked at, and well, I was going to college, but I was also working on the campus and whatnot. I was RA, and then I also was working in the gym. And so I'm in the gym one day, and here comes one of these, military guys coming in. Hey, can I come in and talk to people? And I'm like, okay. Then first he started trying to talk to me about it. He's like, oh, such. I'm like, well, my background is theater, so I don't know if y'all have anything like that. He's like, oh, well, there's soldier shows and such and such, such and such. I'm like, huh. And so I considered briefly, because he was talking about Army. But then I talked to one of my play brothers about it because he is in the military. I don't know if he was in the Army or something else, or one of the other branches. But he kind of, not say talked to me against it, but he just was like, basically he was saying maybe as a female, not necessarily Army was the one to go to or something like that. And then I wasn't sure about the whole soldier show thing because I'm like, what does that mean? And my play brother didn't seem familiar with it, so I'm like, was he just trying to tell me something? Like, but I mean, I considered it for a brief second because again, I mean, you do hear about again, the benefits and things of that nature and stuff. And I mean, that is one thing that if I do have a regret at the moment, hopefully they'll change and things, but I feel like I would love to have traveled more and stuff before I became a wife and mom. I probably should have did more of that in my single days instead of pining over love. I told you about my stepmom earlier, so
yes.
stuff. So that's still something I guess I want to do more of. Which obviously you were able to benefit off of. And my husband, he's in the Marine Corps, so he had that type of experience as well. So, I mean, it's an amazing thing. So, I mean, where are some of the places that you got the chance to go and and what can you share with us? Again, I know you can't share classified information, but I don't know what was such a such favorite drink or something. I don't know.
Excuse me. I retired with 5,000 flying hours. So that'll tell you how much flights I had, how many flying I did. So, but I don't think there's a country, probably outside the United States, that I haven't visited. And a lot of times, I knew our travel, CNN or the news always put the president's business, his itinerary on the news. So we knew we were going, before we had in office, it was on the news. President's going to go visit so countries. So wherever he went, whatever summit he had to attend, for the most part, I was there. We had a lot of times you could take your leaves at 30 days a year. You could take your vacations. But most of the time when I was at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland, I was on just about every trip, especially being the supervisor. I was a deputy superintendent of Air Force One. So if the head guy, number one, couldn't make it, I had to take his place. And then, of course, when the first lady had to travel. So for the most part, the countries, I'll say all over Europe, Asia, South America, all kinds of Eastern Africa trips. Oh my goodness, the sky's the limit. I could be here and name a bunch of places I've been. I have a few favorites I could go back, but the travel was beautiful. I mean, we had a lot of downtime. If the president was at meetings, so we get to tour and visit I was in Russia and saw the Red Square, the pyramids. I could go to Paris and see the Eiffel Tower, and China. I walked the China Wall. Let me see, even the Holy Lands, just to see where Jesus walked through Jerusalem, just to be in Bethlehem. That was probably one of the most touching as a Christian trip, to feel close to the Lord. I mean, you should feel close to the Lord anywhere you go, but just to step ground somewhere where, Christ was, resurrected, being in the upper room. Had a chance to go where the original ark. So it's a lot of things that stand out in my mind that I'm so grateful that I had the opportunities to visit. So that was just, that was one of the best parts. The travel, of course, with the president, but the travel, that was that was a bit one.
Man, that sounds definitely amazing. I guess if I had to pick one phrase, it would be beneficial to go to the Holy Land, and things of that nature. I mean, I'm interested in maybe trying to go to Italy one day, or, I tried to get in, so I went to, right after college, I went to go work at Walt Disney World. So in that regard, I've seen around the world because I've met different people from around the world there. And then, we got like Epcot and stuff. But yeah, I tried to go and try to work for the other Disneys because, they would have like Hong Kong auditions or, Tokyo or something like that, but it just never panned out. I got close I think in the Tokyo audition, I got to like another level or like a level
Mhm.
before the level that they stopped picking or whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, so I got this close one time, but
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't meant to me for me to go in that way. But I mean, that does sound amazing to be able to go and
Uh-huh.
see all those different places, and the fact that you did have downtime to be able to, experience those
Right.
places as well is really
Mhm.
cool. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. So that was like I said, and then of course shopping,
I,
some good shopping overseas.
I bet, man.
Excuse me.
So I mean, I'm assuming the funds were good as well, so you had something to shop with. So I mean,
Yes, yeah, you get paid. They give you travel pay. That's another some of the benefits that you don't realize. And
mm,
then of course the transportation and your hotel, your accommodations are paid for. Because we're part of crew members, so you can't beat that. I mean,
wow,
traveling, seeing the world, plus you don't have to worry about booking your hotels and booking a rent a car and booking.
yeah.
So I
And
missed
so
that
was
part.
it nice accommodations or were they
Yes,
being,
yes,
were they
yes.
slacking on y'all? They was treating y'all
No,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
why I had to promote the Air Force. I said we take care of our people.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they
That's
put us in
awesome.
nice hotels. Yeah, especially overseas. We pretty much because a lot of hotels overseas are not like 4 or 5 stars in the States, but they try to accommodate us pretty good. They took care of the Air Force One crew and
Yeah.
transportation in overseas countries. We really didn't have rent a cars because they didn't want anything happen. So we had a lot of bus transportations picking us as a whole, as a crew.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So, and
Yeah.
we stayed together. You got to stay. You got to think of different intelligence, different things could be going on. So you have to stay close. And we get briefed
Mhm.
about where to go, where not to go in some countries. So
Mm,
stay close. Yeah, in case the president has to come back, we always stay pretty close to an airport because you never know what's going to happen. And,
yeah.
he has got to get back here. I've had some trips where it was red eye. We had to land and then we had to turn around and come right back here. And situations happen. 9/11, I was with President Bush during 9/11. I was on that flight. I tell that
Wow.
story. I was a part of crew that on that particular trip, and I got flown to the History Channel in New York. They wanted to
Mm,
interview me. You could go on demand and maybe still see it. The Secret History of Air Force One, that they're still showing it, and probably
mm,
put my name in. But that was an interesting, I guess, like everyone else, feeling the emotion of that day. But to be with the
yeah.
president that day, I got a chance to do a one-on-one president, a little embrace, and we're gonna be okay. God got us, and I was able to
Mhm.
share that with him. So that was a good
Wow.
moment to share with President Bush at the time. Yeah, so yeah, all that's in my book.
Wow, that is amazing. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, where can we go from here? I can just sit here and just listen to all your stories all day. I know you
Uh-huh.
got so I
I have
mean,
quite a few, so yeah.
man. So okay, if you could share like one funny thing that happened, like while you on all these travels and stuff like that, like what could a funny thing be?
A funny story. Let me see. I know one particular trip because as far as like emergencies and all that, Air Force One is made so I felt so secure on the plane as far as anything going wrong. We had our mechanics right there, so nothing mechanically would go wrong. And if it did, we could have our backup, and the president would continue his trips.
Hmm.
You were asking for a funny story. I said a president always has his guests. If they flew to the White House and they have to go back home to their states, we have congressmen, we have different senators on board. The vice president wouldn't fly with the president. The vice president has his own plane, Air Force Two. But I
Hmm.
know I had one of the president's guests, and it's not funny, but that's probably one of my first earlier trips, and we had just a little turbulence because Air Force One is really smooth, but in the back you can feel little tailwinds, and I spilled coffee on one of the Rockefellers. And I said, this is one of the richest men in the world, but he was the nicest guy. He was like, it's a pair of pants. I said, no, I just don't want to burn you. And I'm trying to wipe it
Oh,
up. And I don't know, it wasn't funny, but we had a laugh after that because they was
yeah.
like, you were paranoid. And this man was like, I have a change of clothes. Why are you worried about it? And so that was kind of one of my, am I gonna get fired trip memories? But
Oh no.
this is probably hilarious. President Reagan, when the presidents passed away, Air Force One would escort their bodies on the jet to their home state. And I was with President Reagan's body to California from Washington. And
Mm,
their bodies are in our guest compartment. It's host probably 10 in that compartment. And they're usually escorted by a general, the casket, and the family. Mrs. Reagan and their children were sitting up front well, older adult children, and just the casket was there. So we were in the galley, the flight attendants, and you know how you can ring a bell on an airplane if you want some service. So the
Mm-hmm.
bell goes off. There's no one in there but the casket. So the bell goes off. I know you talking about something funny. So nobody wants to go up. And I told him, I said, I think President Reagan wants another drink. But nobody wanted to go up in the compartment to check. It was like we just left there. There was nobody in there but the casket. Nobody. That was kind of
Oh
kind of scary at first, but then it was kind of like, okay, what is going on? And,
no!
you know, it could have
Right,
been
right.
the electric system, but it was we had a chuckle over that.
I bet. Oh gosh, I can just see everybody on the plane like,
Right. Who wants to go
you
sit
didn't
with
go,
him?
Miss Wanda. You didn't go check.
Right. Not on my time. I'm not going.
She said, I'm on my break for this one.
Yes, right, exactly. So yeah, so there's
Oh,
a lot
that is
of memorable,
hilarious. Oh
lot of
man.
yeah, a lot of
That
good
is,
memories. Like I said, nothing tragic. Probably the most tragic experience was 9/11. 24 years of flying, I think I had quite a few experiences, but as far as something that was a tragic, especially for our country being attacked,
mhm.
that's probably the most heartbreaking event that I had to be a part of.
Wow.
Because when I came home, I didn't even realize no other planes were supposed to be in the air but us. So I hear all the things people would tell you every day, where they were that day, what was happening in their life that day. I'm like, I'm with the president, not knowing what's going on anywhere else. So I had so many phone calls when I landed, and are you okay? I said, I felt so safe. We were probably in the safest place in the
Mm,
air, being escorted and all that good stuff by the fighter plane. So we were safe. Yeah. So
wow.
that was not a good experience, but that was something that would be with me, forever on
Mm,
that day.
wow. I
So
mean, well, I know you just gave us a glimpse into, the future that you are looking and embarking on and things of that nature. I mean, like I said, I know I could probably sit here and talk to you all day, but I don't want to be long on your time because I mean, listen,
yes,
I
I can always come back.
you can, yes, ma'am, you can. I mean, is there anything else you would like to share with us before you go? Like, just maybe some type of, I don't know, whatever you feel like the Lord wants to say through you. Feel free.
Well, I, as a child, and you're a Christian as well, I tell people my favorite couple of scriptures before I end anything. Psalms 37:4, delight yourself in the Lord and he'll give you the desires of your heart. And that desire of mine as a child was to fly. I was inspired by a flight attendant, and that's how my book starts and telling my story. And I could tell you exactly in my mind what that flight attendant looked like as a child. She was so
Mm,
kind, compassionate, and took care of me leaving my country. I was leaving Bermuda, coming to the United States for the first time. So I said, you know what? She just made me feel so good, so warm. I want to do that. I want to pass that on to somebody one day. And like I said, along my journey, like I mentioned earlier, with all the airlines going down and how I ended on Air Force One, I never gave up on my dream. So I just held on to that scripture and kept the faith. Never gave up. I've had a lot of negative talk about the military and this and that, but I try to just stay positive. And I said, I
mhm,
have to experience it for myself. So you have to step out on faith and let God order your steps, and he's faithful, if you
mm.
put him first, he'll give you the desires of your heart. So that's why I just want to leave with everyone that I can do all things to Christ that strengthens me. So that's my testimony and I'm sticking to it.
Yes, I love everything about that. I'm right there with you, man. As you were sitting here talking, I was just thinking like, man, you served in like at least three ways, I don't know if you know, and I'm sure you do probably know, but I mean, obviously, the service of the military, the service as a flight attendant, because sometimes, people look down on people in service positions and things like that. So that's amazing that you were, encouraged and inspired as a young age by the person that served you. And then, and you were, because sometimes people want to be the president, right? They don't think about to be the
Exactly.
person serving, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
what an amazing thing that you've done that. And then obviously, you're a servant of the Lord, you know what I mean? Spreading these, I guess amazing testimonies and being a light out here in this dark world. So I mean,
Right.
I'm honored to have been speaking with you, man. I don't know what the Lord, how I got to be the one, but I totally appreciate that. And you coming and visiting GSL Talk Show and I would just pray that, yeah, man, everything that you are embarking on with it comes to the speaking, more books, whatever the Lord does through you, I just pray that it just continues to grow and flow.
Yes, amen. Thank you. I receive it. You as well. Thank you for your platform. Thank you again for having me on your show.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
pray prosperity for you too as well with what you're doing and what you're sharing the gospel on your platform. Not everybody could do what you're doing. And I love the name Miracle. I love it.
But thank you, little shout out to Mama. Yeah.
Yes. Hopefully our paths will cross. We're in the same state, so you never know. You have
Indeed.
my
Yeah, I got to keep that in mind too. You're talking about the everything you're into and stuff, because I do the church. I work at the church that I go to now as well, and so you never know. I mean, make it to come home, talk to our kids. See what the Lord do. But yeah, man,
yeah,
I'm
you
excited
forget.
about all of this. I'm glad to have met you, and I mean, I guess I'll wrap here. But I mean, thank you so much again for visiting us.
Okay, thank you. And you can reach me again, through Creative Copy, or I have my wandajoell.com website, wandajoell.com. I can reach out. Anyone wants to reach out to me. And they on that website, it has booking requests. It tells you a little bit about my story. So they can look me up and just send me an email and we'll keep in touch from there. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for remembering
Thank you.
that too. My apologies.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
usually pretty good to be like, hey, yeah, shut up
Sure.
before you get to find you.
It's okay. Thank you so
I guess
much.
I'm just feeling all over here like, wow, man, look who I get to talk to today. God
It's,
always blow my mind. But anywho,
it's nice
and
meeting you. It's been a blessing.
yes,
I'm glad
it's
it
nice
worked out
meeting
for
you
us
too.
this afternoon. Okay.
Yes, I'm glad as well.
Just wishing I would have a one night affair.
Thank you so much for watching the GSL Talk Show, and thank you to Miss Wanda again for her service and everything that she shared with us tonight. I hope that you guys are encouraged and inspired. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check out Miss Wanda and her endeavors. Have a good night.